Good morning, my name is Josh from CyclonesOZ, and here's your detailed forecast update for Christmas Eve, 24th of December 2024. We have a lot to get through today. We've got heavy rainfall up into the far north of Queensland, severe thunderstorms on the forecast over in the southeast of Queensland, extending into the northeast of New South Wales. A heatwave expected to materialise now into the central and then into the eastern states of Australia, and we're also expecting the heatwave conditions to continue for Western Australia as well. And we'll touch on the tropical forecast while we're at it. All of that plus more coming up in today's weather forecast. If you are brand new to the channel, please consider subscribing, but let's get stuck straight into things today. We're going to start things off with the thunderstorm forecast over in the southeast of Queensland and the northeast of New South Wales. Now, thunderstorms aren't expected over the next couple of days. However, after Christmas and into the New Year's period, we are expecting a multi-day severe thunderstorm outbreak. And what's going to be driving this is a weak frontal system moving across interior parts of the nation. Now, frontal systems this time of the year behave very differently to how they do behave in the winter seasons. And as such, you can see this frontal system here moving up through New South Wales and then into Queensland, pushing up all of this moisture into thunderstorms and convection throughout the course of Thursday, Boxing Day, and then into Friday as well. So Thursday afternoon and into early Friday morning, we are expecting a couple of thunderstorms into the central parts of New South Wales. Nothing really crazy expected there, but it is going to be Friday when we start to see those thunderstorms extend up into the northeast of New South Wales and into the southeast of Queensland. Now, these are the thunderstorms that we're going to be talking about for those severe chances. Now, Friday doesn't look like a particularly dangerous night for severe thunderstorms by the looks of things. Nothing really crazy by the looks of things on Friday night, and even the setup for thunderstorms on Friday night doesn't look too flash at all. There will be some very good instability values down around Kempsey and Coffs Harbour in the northeastern corner of New South Wales, up to about that 2,500 joules per kilogram, which again an arbitrary value, but still that means that stuff is really good. Red eye class is very good on this map here. Humidity values, however, not going to be too flash. They're not going to be bad, but they're not going to be the best for thunderstorms there. Typically you want to be seeing 80% values for a good severe thunderstorm outbreak down there, and temperature values as well not looking the best either on Friday into the mid-20s. You'd kind of be wanting temperatures into the high 20s for a proper severe thunderstorm outbreak. It gets a little bit warmer into the inland parts of Queensland and New South Wales as you'd expect, but nothing in the way of thunderstorms really expected out there. Saturday is going to be the start of the severe thunderstorm zone to the southeast of Queensland. Now, I know it's not really apparent by this forecast solution here, but the axis G3 and both the east and west expecting a line of thunderstorms to fire up between the Gold Coast right up to Claremont and Moranbah into the central Queensland, the Wide Bay area. Now, these thunderstorms here are likely to be severe in this general area outside of Emerald, Dingo and Rolleston. We're likely to see very severe thunderstorms in this area here. Judging by this forecast, it looks like they're going to be pretty slow moving as well. Yes, they'll be moving in that northeasterly motion, but they'll likely be a bit slower than usual, so they're most likely to go severe warned for the heavy rainfall. And it looks like in a triangulated area between Emerald, Dingo and down towards Rolleston and then back up to Emerald. In this general area here is where the worst of the thunderstorms are expected. The axis G3 also calling for pretty much the exact same thing on the forecast here, just the worst of the thunderstorms to be a little bit further north out towards Claremont. So there is great model congruency between the forecasts, which is good to see, especially considering we're talking about thunderstorms here, which are notoriously unpredictable. In terms of the conditions for thunderstorms, it's looking pretty healthy as well. Cape values are going to be in that kind of good zone. It's going to be solid. I mean, they're not great, but they aren't going to be terrible for it. And there's going to be plenty of moist air rushing in from the Coral Sea, as well as a high pressure system churns deep into the Tasman Sea. That's going to be funneling in a lot of the warm, moist air that these thunderstorms will need to fire up and really mature. And you can see temperature values not looking too flash, humidity values as well not looking the best, but still it's not going to be too bad for thunderstorms on Saturday afternoon and evening. As we get into the third last day of 2024, you can see plenty of thunderstorms expected in pretty much the exact same area between a line from Charters Towers down to Maroochydore on the Sunshine Coast, with the focus of severe thunderstorms being between Dingo up to Claremont and Moranbah. In fact, a little bit further north, maybe out towards Glendon as well. Again, reciprocated between the other forecast models, which does give me a high level of confidence in saying that this is a very likely thing now to occur on the weather forecast. It is at least going to happen in some degree here, and I do reckon the thunderstorms on Sunday afternoon and evening will pack a punch, especially into this area here outside of Moranbah. Humidity and temperature values as well looking pretty healthy. In fact, we're going to be seeing temperatures into the high 30s as you get further inland to Queensland, then low to mid 30s as you get closer towards the coastline. So those temperature values are going to be quite high, and those convective available potential energy values really rising as well. Now, Sunday's a little bit of a wild card for the southeast of Queensland. I know we've been talking a lot about the central coast here, but southeastern Queensland is a little bit of a wild card on Sunday. The Eastern Wave not calling for any major thunderstorm breakouts there, and the reason for that is it's just going to be too cold, and it looks like the weather, well, the thermodynamic conditions just aren't that conducive for thunderstorms into the southeast of Queensland on Sunday. The XSG3 contradicts that pretty much entirely, calling for a nice severe thunderstorm outbreak outside of Edda's Void. Again, the XSG3 can be pretty unreliable when you're talking about more long-range stuff here, but it does look like some kind of low-pressure system will materialise offshore from the southeastern Queensland coastline, and that will funnel in some good showers at least, regardless of thunderstorms. It will funnel in some good showers at least throughout the course of Sunday, probably some heavier stuff into the northern suburbs of Brisbane. But again, just considering the setup that the southeast of Queensland has, even on Saturday and Sunday, I'm surprised that they aren't getting more severe thunderstorms, at least on the forecast. So it is a question that we're going to have to answer with a few more forecasts as we get towards Boxing Day or the 27th. I'll be able to give a more definitive answer on what's expected down there. But again, I wouldn't really take everything on this forecast at face value, especially considering those primed conditions in the southeast of Queensland and no thunderstorms firing up as a result of it, and then more thunderstorms firing up where the conditions aren't exactly as flash as you get further out towards Rolleston and Emerald. Still, conditions very good for thunderstorms out there. In terms of more thunderstorms expected to be severe around sort of the Rolleston area on Monday, it just looks like this kind of area is going to be the hot spot between Moranbah down to about Injune. These thunderstorms do look like they're going to be funneling in from the coastline, which means we're going to be seeing a lot more in terms of steady rainfall from these thunderstorms here. They will have some very heavy falls in them at times. The thunderstorms also expected to be severe warned just for that rainfall. I'm not expecting severe thunderstorms for large hailstones or damaging winds just based off the setup that we do have on Monday. And these thunderstorms, like I said, could definitely pack a punch in terms of the rainfall. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we're waking up to accumulations of 75 millimetres plus around the Injune area. And these couple of days of thunderstorms as well, while we're talking about it, are really going to add to those rainfall accumulations. Tuesday the 31st of January, the last day of 2024, is the first day that the southeastern corner of Queensland kind of gets a meaty outbreak of thunderstorms, at least on this forecast here. You can see it is also kind of reciprocated between the Axis G3 forecast as well, just a little bit further inland. But it looks like Tuesday and the last day of 2024 in dramatic fashion as well, in very similar fashion rather to how those thunderstorms fired up on New Year's Eve last year. Looks like we've got plenty of thunderstorms on the way then. Again, convective available potential energy values could be a little bit higher across the southeast of Queensland. They're still okay, but they're nothing to write home about. It looks like these thunderstorms here are going to be streaming in from the coastline and tending to rainfall at times, so most likely non-severe thunderstorms just with some heavier showers embedded in them. I wouldn't be surprised if one or two cells went severe warned, especially around the Toowoomba down towards Warwick and Wollongara area into the mountainous areas for isolated torrential rainfall, but I would be for the most part expecting some more steadier falls from these thunderstorms here. Same deal with Wednesday, a few showers here and there to welcome in 2025, and then by the looks of things later on into the forecast period, there's nothing on the cards until at least week 2 of 2025. Rainfall accumulations, though, are going to look quite healthy, and this is a really exciting thing for a couple of locations across the southeast of Queensland. 7-day rainfall accumulations, they are in desperate need of some good rainfall down here, do look very good indeed. So we're going to start from north and head further south. Glendon, Moranbah and Claremont, which are only expecting about 2 or 3 days of thunderstorm chances. They're expecting too much in the way of rainfall, somewhere between the 15 and 45 millimetre mark. Depending on what thunderstorms you get as well, those rainfall accumulations could blow out dramatically. And then further down towards Emerald and Dingo, Rolleston, that's where the majority of the rainfall is expected, especially into some of the ranges adjacent to Rolleston and Emerald and out towards some of the hills outside of Dingo. Rainfall accumulations there could exceed 50 or 60 millimetres. Now, again, we're talking about thunderstorms here, so rainfall accumulations are a very hard factor to forecast, and they're a very difficult factor to forecast properly as well, and it's kind of a thing that you have to leave to the day. But this is kind of a steady, what we can expect kind of thing. At the bare minimum, we're talking about 50 millimetres around the Emerald, Dingo and Rolleston area across this week-long period. Of course, if the right thunderstorm comes through, get 50 millimetres in half an hour, and the week-long rainfall accumulations could be in excess of 250 millimetres. That's just a stuff that you can't even predict on the day, though. It just is a matter of what thunderstorms fire up then. So this rainfall accumulation is more or less to be taken as the bare minimum of what rainfall is expected. Billawheeler and Edda's probably somewhere between that 30 and 50 millimetre mark. I'd probably be leaning on the lower side of that to Edda's The rainfall there isn't going to be too flash by the looks of things. And then further south of Taroom and Injune, the rainfall there as well, not going to be too flash, somewhere between the 15 and 30 millimetre mark. As you get closer to the coastline, though, especially the Sunshine Coast around Gympie and Mount Perry outside of Harvey Bay, rainfall accumulations could be as high as 70 or 80 millimetres as a minimum as well. So depending on what thunderstorms fire up there, the rainfall could hit triple figures over this week-long period. Again, thunderstorms most likely to be at their strongest there on the 30th, the 31st and the 1st of January. And then further south into the southeastern corner of Queensland, depending on what rainfall comes through on the 31st for Brisbane, Brisbane, we could be seeing showers and thunderstorms accumulate rainfall accumulations up to about 50 millimetres, especially into some of the hills adjacent to Brisbane. But Brisbane's kind of not expecting a steady outbreak of thunderstorms where you get outbreak after outbreak, day after day. They're kind of expecting a couple of days of, there's going to be a chance of a thunderstorm here and there. It's most likely to be well out of the metro area, but there is going to be that chance. And then on Tuesday, when we're going to be seeing those showers come through, it's not really going to feel like a severe thunderstorm outbreak, at least to the Brisbane area. And same deal for the Gold Coast as well. So it's a bit of a stretch to call this a severe thunderstorm outbreak for Brisbane and the Gold Coast specifically. But further inland, talking about severe thunderstorms, totally a valid thing to say on the forecast, just considering what is expected. Again, those main risks being heavier rainfall at this time. Certainly some really good falls can be expected from some of these thunderstorms, especially into the Gold Coast hinterland. We know how much rainfall some of those storms can fire out. Good falls also expected into the northeastern corner of New South Wales, very similar to what the Sunshine Coast or some of the hills adjacent to the Sunshine Coast are expecting. At a minimum, probably about 40 millimetres. Again, they're not expecting too many days of thunderstorms on Friday and Saturday, and then again on Tuesday. So thunderstorms there aren't going to be very widespread, and as such, the rainfall accumulations aren't really anything to write home about. And then further south into the central coast of New South Wales, there also isn't an awful lot on the forecast. Some good thunderstorms coming through on Friday night by the looks of things here and there. They're going to be pretty few and far between. And then on Saturday as well, a couple of thunderstorms expected into the northeast. But again, nothing crazy into the New Year's period. It looks like Tuesday night could be a bit of a widespread thunderstorm day, though, across the eastern coast by the looks of things, and the axis G3 really calling for some significant rainfall accumulations here and there. But again, we're going to have to wait and see with that forecast because it is still about a week away. Interesting stuff on the forecast, that's for sure. Certainly something that I want to keep a very close eye on. And if I have left your head scrambled about these severe thunderstorms, or if you're unsure what to expect in your location, then please let me know in the comment section down below, and I would be more than happy to help you out. We're going to keep things on Queensland just for the next couple of minutes and talk about the far north, because I do have some rainfall coming in into the New Year's period, and how conveniently we are timed at the 1st of January right now. So rainfall will begin from basically the 1st of January from thunderstorms. So we'll get a weak onshore flow, bring some constant showers and the odd storm here and there as well throughout the course of Thursday and Friday the 2nd and 3rd of January respectively. That rainfall probably being at its most intense Friday night into early Saturday morning. I'm not seeing anything really significant on this forecast here, but still some good falls are expected. And as with far north Queensland, you have to expect 100 millimetres. You just have to expect the worst. Even if a couple of showers are on the forecast, who's to say that Innisfail or Tully won't pick up 100 millimetres of rainfall from just a couple of showers? So again, it is always worth talking about the rainfall accumulations up here, even if it's only a couple of light showers on the forecast, which is what we're expecting here. And even for this time of the year as well, things can change dramatically with the forecast. We could be expecting some substantially higher rainfall accumulations, and this rainfall here persisting throughout Sunday and Monday as well. So we're expecting steady showers to stream into the far north Queensland coastline between Wednesday the 1st of January 2025 and then off towards Monday the 6th of January 2025. So this constant steady stream of rainfall will start to pile on those rainfall accumulations, and let's talk about those in great detail right now. Week-long rainfall accumulations between the 1st and the 7th are looking like this. They aren't too heavy for the most part, but for the far north of Queensland coastline, you could probably get away with doubling some of these rainfall accumulations here. Innisfail expecting about 80 millimetres. I would be surprised if they picked up less than 100 millimetres or about 120 millimetres from this setup here. This is kind of looking like a setup that's going to leave Innisfail with about 30 to 35 millimetres over a 3 or 4 day period, just 35 millimetres a day rather over that 3 or 4 day period. And if you do the math on that, those rainfall accumulations start to add up pretty quickly. Before you know it, you're up to 150 millimetres. Same deal with Tully. Ingham and Cardwell, a little bit more of a hard sell on the forecast, still around 50 millimetres expected there from showers that will come through. I think the Townsville rain dome, however, will be in its full effect, and as such, I think the 30 millimetre forecast for Townsville might be a little bit on the bullish side. Hopefully Tulkia doesn't get any more rainfall after the 900 millimetres that they suffered through last week. Any more showers down there will cause some very significant flooding problems, so it is good that the rainfall is concentrated to the far north coast of Queensland. Again, they're not exactly in desperate need for rainfall. They've got more than enough of the stuff up there, especially at this time of the year, but a couple more showers up there, it shouldn't hurt things too much. Offshore peak rainfall accumulations are going to be in excess of 120 millimetres on this forecast. Now, 120 millimetres might not sound like too much, but when it's offshore and it's got nothing, or the rainfall has got nothing to collect collect itself up. I mean, the mountains that wring it dry across the far north of Queensland is what I mean by collecting the rainfall. When it's got nothing to really collect the rainfall out here, 115 millimeters actually is a lot. So if this kind of, the showers that are going to accumulate in this sort of area, if they got themselves over the coastline, which they are likely to do, I mean, let's face it, no shower's going to stop right here, and the rainfall's not going to stop right there. It's going to stop when it gets to the coastline. We'll be seeing rainfall accumulations probably about double of what the forecast is saying. Up into Port Douglas, it looks like there's going to be some good rainfall there into the Daintree rainforest, about 150 millimeters of the stuff as well. My personal forecast around Innisfail and Tully is 200 millimeters between Wednesday the 1st and Tuesday the 7th of January 2025. I reckon Cairns will pick up about 30 to 50 millimeters, Atherton and Ravenshoe again about 30 to 50 millimeters, nothing flash there, and I reckon Mossman might pick up about 150 millimeters as well. Cardwell and Ingham, probably nothing too significant around sort of that 50 millimeter mark. Could be a little bit more for Cardwell depending on what happens here and there from the showers. It does look like a pretty interesting forecast here, and it is quite an interesting one to wrap your head around. And yeah, the rainfall doesn't pipe up till about the 2nd of January, and it is at its heaviest throughout Friday and Saturday the 3rd and 4th respectively. Stay safe up there. If you've got any questions or comments, please do let me know in the comment section down below, and we'll be revisiting this forecast over the coming couple of days as well. So again, make sure you are subscribed for that. And that basically does it for Queensland. I'm aware that we are 15 minutes into the video already, and we've still got the remainder of Australia plus a Christmas weather forecast to cover, but thankfully Victoria, Tasmania, South Australia and the Northern Territory, and also Western Australia are not providing us anything significant in terms of rainfall. It is only the top end of Western Australia and the Northern Territory providing the rainfall, but then again, that is just from tropical thunderstorms that are firing up pretty consistently. This is the evening forecast at 3 p.m. for the next 14 days. You can see thunderstorms just consistently throughout the next 14 days across the top end of Western Australia, and that's what's going to be leading to those substantial rainfall accumulations, especially what's going to be coming through over the next week. It is going to be a very wet week over the Kimberley region of Western Australia, and as such, those rainfall accumulations are going to very quickly pile on. Thankfully, though, nothing in the way of tropical stuff expected, not at least tropical lows for Western Australia or Queensland, but we do have a tropical low expected well offshore from the Cocos Keeling Islands, and that does have a little bit of a chance of spinning itself up over the coming couple of days. In fact, it's right over the top of the West Island on the Cocos Keeling Islands right now, and you can see it on the satellite imagery very broadly. I mean, it doesn't really look like a tropical system. It looks like a baked potato, to be honest, really struggling at this time. It does look like it does have a bit of a fighting chance over the coming couple of days. I mean, you can see if we drag this forecast through today and then into Christmas Day, it does give itself a bit of a chance at least, and it might have a start to life sometime on Thursday or Friday, but this system here is going to be pushing very close to the edge of the Australian area of responsibility. So if it does get named, it's very unlikely it gets named by the Bureau of Meteorology. Not only is their classification too strict, but it is going to head towards the west of the longitude line 90 degrees east, and as such it'll become Matteo France's responsibility over on Mauritius. That's just how things work in the Indian Ocean. I mean, you can have a tropical cyclone here much closer to Australia, but it is being covered by Mauritius and their weather office over there. The Bureau of Meteorology, like I said, most likely not to name this system. I don't really see a future where it gets too strong in the Australian area of responsibility, and again, it looks like it might have a brighter future as it heads towards Mauritius sometime into the New Year's period. But yeah, I wouldn't give this system a fighting chance of becoming a tropical cyclone, not at least with how it looks now. I mean, it looks pretty disappointing at this time. And the Axis G3 is still being persistent with some kind of tropical low / cyclone expected to form around Vanuatu. We will see kind of a low pressure trough extend south of the Solomon Islands and then barrage towards Vanuatu right in time for Boxing Day, and then on to the 27th as well, just after Christmas by the looks of things. Now, this tropical low here certainly qualifies as being called a Coral Sea tropical low, but it is by no means a Queensland impact, and certainly not a focus of discussion at this time. In terms of what it looks like right now, it's this line of messy convection right now. It's going to drag down more convection here, which will slowly organize into a low pressure system, and that does have a very, very slim chance. I'm talking like 2 or 3% of becoming a tropical cyclone, and if it does, again, it will be monitored by the meteorology service on Fiji, because it will be well over Vanuatu by the time it gets itself to tropical cyclone status. In short, Australia expecting squat over the next 14 days. Nothing expected in the way of tropical lows or tropical cyclones in the Australian region of responsibility. I mean, the forecast does look really, really boring indeed. And as to be frank, as someone whose job is to track tropical cyclones and tropical weather patterns, I'm going to get pretty bored of this stuff pretty quickly. I mean, the strongest wind gusts in the tropical waters of Australia are probably around sort of the 20 knot mark, so it is really calm, which is good to see, but things are now starting to build up. Those sea temperatures are really building up, and talking of those temperatures, we've got to head over into the interior parts of Australia. Western Australia is done with its heatwave, thank goodness. I got back from my 2-day stint over at Rottnest Island, and my house was 38 degrees inside because I hadn't run the air conditioning, of course, while I was away. It was awful. This heat, thank goodness, is heading further inland now. It's going to impact areas into the Goldfields. Kalgoorlie expecting a very warm top of about 38 or 39 degrees today, and it's going to be a late maximum as well before those winds drag those warm temperatures out. It's going to be a pretty muggy top in Perth as well. I'm expecting a top of around 30 degrees. In fact, it could be a little bit warmer than that in Perth, and it will be a bit of a muggier one as well, just with those southwesterlies, those winds dragging in the humidity from the ocean. I don't think the humidity will go below about 65% today. It is going to be, like I said, pretty sticky. And then Christmas Day, the all-important temperature forecast. We've only really got a hot spot around Maralinga and Minturpee in South Australia. Now, that's been the hot spot on the forecast for Christmas Day for the past 2 weeks. I'd be expecting tops of around 44 or 45 degrees there, so it is going to get quite warm indeed. South Australia as a whole, pretty warm. Adelaide expecting a top of 34, Melbourne a top of 28, Sydney 24, Brisbane 28. A couple of showers here and there for both Sydney and Brisbane streaming in from the coastline. I think those showers might have actually been dropped. Yeah, actually, scratch that. No showers expected, but they will get a bit of an onshore breeze, keeping things a little bit cooler. Canberra, quite a warm top of 30 degrees. Their inland predicament will leave them with those warmer temperatures, and then into the interior parts of Queensland, into the late 30s or early 40s there. Same deal with the Northern Territory. A couple of showers along the central Queensland coastline into the far northern Queensland coastline between Mackay and Townsville, but again, nothing serious in terms of rainfall there. And then on to Boxing Day, those temperatures are going to shoot up across Victoria, and they will shoot up dramatically. They're not going to be as hot as we expected a couple of days ago, but still 40 degrees expected for Mildura rather, and then 38 expected for Melbourne. And it's going to be 36 degrees by the looks of things in Melbourne at 7 p.m. before that cool change comes in and dramatically reduces those temperatures. Now, this heat wave isn't going to be as intense as we initially expected, which is really good news for the fires currently burning in Melbourne, and it's also not going to be as intense for cool change either, which means those fire danger ratings are also not going to be as extreme as we once expected. What is going to be doing really well, though, is the Sydney to Hobart race. They're going to be battling winds of around 30 to 50 knots later on Thursday night. Those winds are going to be really strong indeed as that heat wave extends into the New South Wales eastern coast throughout the course of Friday. But yeah, the Sydney to Hobart is expected to be a really quick yacht race. It's going to be a very warm day as well on the first day of the Boxing Day test. I mean, the Australian sport really is going to be suffering through some nasty conditions on Boxing Day, and then by the looks of things, it cools off for the Boxing Day test throughout the course of Friday onwards. And in terms of rainfall, a couple of showers are going to be here and there as well throughout late Thursday night into Friday morning as well. Might be having a couple of rain delays throughout Friday and Saturday as well, which is quite unfortunate. We need all the time we can get the Australian squad on the field, and yeah, it looks like rain delays are going to be a possibility between Friday and Sunday as well, which is, again, like I said, very unfortunate. I'm very aware of how long this video has ran for, but that is all from me today. Thank you so much for watching the video to this point. The support lately has been much appreciated. If you have any questions or comments, especially if I've left your head scrambled and you need a forecast for your location, then please let me know in the comment section down below as well. The support lately has been much appreciated, as I've said, and a special shout out to the channel sponsors. Of course, their names are on screen right now as well, and I could not run the show without them. Again, their support is much appreciated. But that is all from me today, and I will catch you all in the next storm. Goodbye.